Have you ever wondered if something as simple as salt could hold the power to protect and heal? For many, this might sound strange, but for Padre Pio, one of the most revered saints in Catholic history, the power of salt was a key element in his spiritual practice. Padre Pio understood the deep connection between spiritual protection and the natural world, believing that ordinary objects, when used with faith and intention, could become vessels for divine energy. Padre Pio's healing powers went beyond the physical. He not only healed people from illnesses, but also provided spiritual protection through Padre Pio, offering peace, balance, and guidance to those in need. His miracles were not just about curing the body. They were about restoring souls and creating harmony with the divine. And one of the most fascinating aspects of his spiritual practice was his use of salt in spirituality as a tool for both healing and protection. The hidden power of salt is often overlooked in the spiritual realm, yet it has been used for centuries in various cultures and religions as a means of purifying spaces and protecting individuals. Padre Pio and salt became a symbol of his deep faith, a means through which he could offer spiritual healing and protect his flock from negative energies. But how exactly does salt hold such power? And how can you use this simple element in your own spiritual practice? In this video, we'll dive deep into the role of salt for spiritual healing, exploring how Padre Pio utilized this powerful tool and how you too can harness the spiritual protection with salt to enhance your own life. Whether it's to purify your space, protect your energy, or heal spiritually, salt holds the key to unlocking a powerful connection with the divine. Stay with us to discover how to incorporate this sacred element into your own spiritual practice. Salt has always held a special place in spiritual practices across the globe. From ancient civilizations to modern-day spiritualists, salt has been revered for its ability to purify, protect, and heal. For Padre Pio, one of the most celebrated saints in the Catholic Church, salt was not just a kitchen ingredient but a tool of profound spiritual importance. Padre Pio and salt became inseparable, as he understood its potential to create spiritual protection and promote healing powers of Padre Pio. Salt, in many spiritual traditions, is seen as a purifier. It absorbs negative energy, protects from harmful influences, and helps to cleanse spaces. Padre Pio believed deeply in the power of salt for spiritual healing. He often used salt in his rituals, not just as a physical substance, but as a spiritual catalyst to cleanse the soul and safeguard the energy of the person or space. The hidden power of salt is not just in its physical properties, but in the intention behind its use. When applied with faith and reverence, salt becomes an instrument for divine intervention. One of the most remarkable things about Padre Pio's healing practices was his ability to combine everyday elements like salt with profound spiritual significance. He would often sprinkle salt in spirituality to purify areas where he would pray, creating an environment free from negative energy. Whether in his own room or in the homes of those seeking his guidance, Padre Pio would perform rituals using salt to remove spiritual blockages and create a peaceful space conducive to divine connection. His spiritual protection through Padre Pio was a key part of his healing work, and salt played an essential role in maintaining the purity of those environments. The practice of using salt for spiritual healing has ancient roots, and Padre Pio was a master of this tradition. But it's important to remember that salt itself is not a magical substance. It is the Padre Pio faith and the spiritual protection with salt that gives it its power. Just as Padre Pio's miracles were manifestations of divine will, the use of salt was an extension of his deep connection to God. Padre Pio and salt were tools, but it was always the faith that empowered them. Salt became a conduit through which the divine could work, healing the body, mind, and spirit of those in need. Salt, as used by Padre Pio, is not simply about physical protection. It serves as a spiritual shield against the negative energies and influences that can drain us. In our modern world, it's easy to overlook the power of something as simple as salt. But spiritual practices with salt are an important reminder that even the most everyday elements can hold deep, divine meaning. Padre Pio used salt not just for himself, but help others find healing and protection in their lives. One practical way to integrate salt into your own spiritual practices with salt is to incorporate it into your daily routine for protection and purification. You can sprinkle it around your home, place it in small bowls near windows or doorways to guard against negative energies, or even use it in a bath to cleanse your energy. These simple rituals, though small in their actions, can create powerful shifts in the spiritual atmosphere of your surroundings. Just as Padre Pio's faith in God allowed him to use salt for profound purposes, you too can open yourself to the possibilities that lie in the everyday objects around you. It's not the salt itself, but the intention behind it that brings about change. Padre Pio's healing was never about the external act alone. It was always about the internal alignment of faith, prayer, and connection to God. As you begin to use salt in your own spiritual practice, remember that it is an extension of your own faith. Salt for spiritual healing is not just a physical action. It's an opportunity to deepen your own connection to the divine and to bring greater spiritual protection into your life. One of the most compelling aspects of Padre Pio's healing powers was his ability to provide spiritual protection not only through prayer, but also by utilizing elements from the natural world. Among these, salt held a special place in his spiritual toolkit. Padre Pio and salt were intertwined in a way that went beyond its ordinary use. For him, salt became a powerful conduit for spiritual protection through Padre Pio. He recognized the hidden power of salt to purify, protect, and safeguard not only physical spaces, but also the spiritual energy of individuals. Salt in spirituality has long been considered a barrier against negative energies. It is known to absorb and neutralize harmful influences, which is why it played such a central role in Padre Pio's life-changing spiritual practices. Padre Pio's faith was unwavering, and he believed that through his prayers and rituals, salt could act as a physical and spiritual shield. He used it to purify spaces, bless homes, and protect the people he cared for from evil influences. Just as Padre Pio's miracles were rooted in faith and divine connection, the use of salt was a tangible way to manifest spiritual protection and healing. Imagine a scenario where you are feeling overwhelmed by negative energy or unwanted spiritual influences. Padre Pio would have likely encouraged you to turn to salt, a humble but powerful tool for spiritual cleansing. He often placed salt for spiritual healing in the corners of rooms to create an energetic boundary, protecting those who resided there. This practice wasn't just a superstition, it was deeply rooted in the belief that, with the right intention and faith, salt could create a divine shield. In addition to placing salt around the home, Padre Pio also used it in personal rituals. He would pray over salt, consecrating it and imbuing it with divine energy, so that when people used it, it carried with it the power of spiritual protection. Whether it was for physical healing, emotional relief, or spiritual restoration, Padre Pio's healing work often included the use of simple elements like salt to create a sacred space where divine healing could occur. Salt for spiritual healing was, for him, a way to cleanse the environment and invite God's protection into people's lives. Today, spiritual protection with salt is something that many people still practice, often without fully understanding its deeper roots. For instance, placing a small bowl of salt near your front door or windowsills is believed to protect the home from negativity. This practice is rooted in the same principles that Padre Pio understood so well. Salt acts as a purifier, absorbing negative energy and creating a barrier against external spiritual harm. However, it's important to note that the healing powers of Padre Pio and the spiritual protection through Padre Pio did not come solely from the salt itself, but from the faith and intention with which it was used. Padre Pio's faith in God allowed him to harness the divine power behind the salt, using it as a physical manifestation of the protection that comes from prayer, faith, and a deep connection to the divine. This is a crucial element to understand. It is not just about placing salt around your home. It is about using salt with the understanding that it is a tool that opens the door to divine protection, a means to align yourself spiritually with the forces of good. You can use salt in a similar way to Padre Pio's practices, but remember that your intent is just as important as the act itself. If you're seeking protection or spiritual healing, approach the salt with reverence and faith, asking for divine assistance in removing negativity and restoring balance. As you sprinkle or place the salt, visualize it absorbing negative energy and transforming your space into one filled with light, love, and spiritual safety. Now that we've explored the spiritual protection Padre Pio brought through the use of salt, let's look at how you can incorporate this simple yet powerful element into your own life. Just as Padre Pio used salt to protect and heal, you can harness the hidden power of salt to bring spiritual healing and protection into your everyday life. It's about using intention, faith, and the power of divine energy to transform the spaces and experiences around you. The first step to using salt for spiritual protection with salt is understanding that it's not just a material object, but a tool infused with the potential to manifest divine energy. Padre Pio's faith was key in his practice. He used salt as the channel through which divine forces could intervene and create positive change. When you use salt for spiritual healing, it's important to approach it with the same reverence and faith that Padre Pio did. It's not about the salt itself, but about the intention you infuse into the ritual. Let's look at some practical ways you can begin incorporating salt for spiritual healing. Salt rituals for protection and cleansing. One of the simplest ways to use salt is by placing it in strategic locations around your home. Start by sprinkling salt in spirituality around the entrances of your home, windows, doors, and corners, places where energy can enter. As you do this, say a prayer of protection, asking for spiritual protection through Padre Pio to surround your home and keep out negative energies. This is a powerful way to cleanse your space and create a barrier of divine protection. You can also place a small bowl of salt near the entrance to invite positive, protective energy into your home. Spiritual baths with salt. If you feel drained or are experiencing negative energy, a salt bath is a wonderful way to cleanse yourself spiritually. Padre Pio believed that salt had the ability to purify not only spaces but people as well. Fill your bath with warm water and add a handful of salt. As you soak, focus on releasing any negativity or tension. Visualize the salt absorbing all the spiritual dirt from your body, leaving you feeling renewed and protected. This practice isn't just physical, it's deeply spiritual. Imagine each grain of salt as a purifier, bringing you closer to divine clarity and healing. Salt as a protective tool for personal energy. Just as Padre Pio used salt to protect the spaces around him, you can use it to protect your personal energy. Carry a small pouch of salt with you as a personal talisman. Whenever you feel overwhelmed by external pressures or negative energies, take a moment to hold the salt in your hands and center yourself. Focus on your breath, envisioning the salt as a shield around you, protecting your energy from outside influences. This practice aligns with Padre Pio's miracles, the belief that divine protection can be summoned through simple yet sacred acts. Salt for prayer and meditation. Incorporating salt into your prayer or meditation practice can also enhance your spiritual connection. Padre Pio's faith was the key to his miracles, and by using salt as a symbol of divine protection, you invite the same healing powers of Padre Pio into your life. During meditation, place salt around you in a circle to create a sacred space. As you pray or meditate, visualize the salt forming a protective shield around you, inviting divine energy into your life. This simple practice can deepen your connection to the divine and bring clarity, peace, and healing. Cleansing negative energy with salt. If you sense that there's negative energy in your environment, whether in your home, office, or even on your own body, salt is an effective tool for cleansing. To cleanse your environment, take a small amount of salt and sprinkle it in each corner of the room, especially in places where energy feels stagnant or heavy. As you do this, state your intention to clear the space of negative energy and invite healing. Just as Padre Pio used salt to purify and protect, you can use this simple element to maintain a healthy spiritual environment. While salt is an incredibly powerful tool, it is the faith in Padre Pio and the spiritual protection through Padre Pio that gives it its true strength. Padre Pio's healing wasn't about the physical act alone. It was about the power of belief and trust in the divine. Spiritual healing through salt becomes even more effective when combined with faith and intention. The energy you bring to the ritual will determine its effectiveness. So, as you incorporate salt into your practice, be sure to hold a deep, unwavering belief that you are calling upon the divine for healing and protection. Just as Padre Pio used salt as a vessel for divine protection, you can tap into this ancient practice to create a shield of protection around you. The key is to infuse every act with genuine faith, knowing that the power of salt in spiritual healing is only effective when paired with trust in the divine forces at work. As we conclude this exploration of the hidden power of salt in the life of Padre Pio, it becomes clear that this simple yet profound element holds a significant place in spiritual practices. Padre Pio used salt for spiritual healing and protection, and it's a tool that we too can harness in our lives. Whether you are seeking spiritual protection, healing, or simply a deeper connection with the divine, the use of salt can be a powerful ally in your spiritual journey. The true strength of Padre Pio's healing came from his unwavering faith and his ability to channel divine power into everyday actions. Salt for spiritual healing is no different. It's not just about the act of sprinkling salt or placing it in a room, but about the intention and Padre Pio's faith that empowers it. When we approach these practices with deep belief, we are inviting the divine into our lives in a tangible, powerful way. Salt, as used by Padre Pio, serves as a reminder that we do not need complex rituals or grand gestures to connect with the divine. Sometimes the most powerful tools are the simplest. By using salt in our spiritual practices, we can tap into the same protective and healing energies that Padre Pio did. This is about acknowledging the sacredness in everything, even in the most humble elements, and using them to deepen our spiritual connection and bring peace into our lives. Now that you've learned about the power of salt in spiritual healing and protection through Padre Pio, it's time to take action. Start incorporating salt into your spiritual practices today, whether it's by purifying your space, protecting your energy, or using it for personal healing. Remember, it's not just the salt itself, but your faith in Padre Pio and your intention that makes the difference. If you found this video helpful, I encourage you to share it with others who may benefit from these practices. Salt and Padre Pio's miracles are just the beginning. There are countless ways to incorporate divine energy and protection into your life. Let us know in the comments how you plan to use salt in your own spiritual journey, or if you've experienced any transformations by using this simple tool for healing. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more spiritual insights. Embrace the spiritual protection with salt and trust that it will bring divine healing into your life, just as it did for those who sought Padre Pio's miracles. Let the power of faith guide you, and may your journey be blessed.